Girona up next. Should we have a look at the Champions League table?
Go on.
Why not?
The Champions League.
Do that.
Should we do that? Okay, let's just remind ourselves. Currently, Liverpool are top, having won all 5 of their games, scoring 12, conceding 1, a goal difference of 11. 2 points ahead of Inter Milan. Girona are down in 30th, I think.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
There you go. They've won 1 and lost 4.
Jesus.
Yeah. Not quite the side that they were last season, Steve, really. Obviously, La Liga's surprise package last season, currently down in 8th. Beaten 3-0, I think, by Real Madrid at the weekend. Knocked out of the Copa del Rey to 6th tier. 6th tier Logrones. Midweek. Hurting at the moment, Girona.
And a great opportunity to go and get 3 points that all but seals qualification. That's the way you've got to look at that. Get it done.
4th tier, sorry.
And then you can look at the future games and bring in players that need minutes because the job's done. I'm a big favour of doing things as quickly as you possibly can, and 18 points at that stage is pretty much done, isn't it?
Oh, it's done, I think, yeah.
So, Chloe, obviously big break for Liverpool. We've got some injury news now as well. Ian Doyle tweeted this out earlier on today. Liverpool had an open training a little early for Champions League game in Girona tomorrow. Chiesa missed out through illness and won't travel, but Jota was training fully. Morton was absent with a knock and also won't travel to Girona. Chiesa, ill. Surprised? What's going on, man? Have we got another Keita?
I don't say that.
Keita played a few.
At this stage, we've got another Mello, never mind a Keita.
Oh.
Don't say that either.
Is it just bad luck or is this a concern?
Oh, it's a concern because, I mean, we wouldn't have bought him if we would have thought he'd have continued to be out for this long. And I totally get the whole pre-season thing. However, it just feels like there are so many setbacks. You don't know how much of training he's doing. It's been quite a while now, and actually we do need it. Look, we sat here at the start of the season and we were like 6 forwards, absolutely brilliant. We've been playing with 4 up for 3 spots for the past like 3 to 4 weeks, maybe even longer. We need Jota back, we need Chiesa back, because if you want to try and win a Champions League, you need every part of your squad to do that, because it goes through tough times. You'll get injuries here, there and everywhere. And Salah is in unbelievable shape. But, there are times where you probably want to give him 20 minutes rest because he won't like to rest. And you can't do that because you've got to play the other forwards everywhere else and he's your main man. So we really do need Chiesa back. Him getting ill, I suppose, he can't do anything about that, I guess. But I am getting a little bit bored of it.
Yeah, I think Chloe's sort of hit the nail on the head there, Dan. I mean, this isn't an injury, this is just an illness, so maybe it's a bit too soon to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but certainly the injuries are obviously an issue.
Yeah, they are. And they'd be less of an issue if his track record of injuries wasn't as sort of blighted as it is, really. And we've got lived experience, we mentioned a couple of names there, of signing players and it not really sort of working out for maybe other different reasons. And we've signed players with poor injury history as well, and it just continued, and everyone's turning around and going, well, I told you so. Now, there's an opportunity for a lot of people to turn around and say, I told you so with Chiesa here, if this doesn't stop and stop quickly, because as wonderful as a footballer as he is, and as an opportunistic signing as it was, and one which had a lot of scope to turn out to be a bit of a masterstroke, because you get him for, 12 million, something like that.
It's not a lot.
And he was once touted as a £100 million footballer, star of the show in the Euros not too long ago, and you bring him in for that money. He is your sick forward. He's a bit of a joker in the pack, if you like, and he gives you that crazy strength and depth that we had in the attacking line. And if he's just not available to you, what good is it ultimately? And that's kind of where we're at right now. I'm with Chloe. I'm on board with the reset that they had to him, because they never really spoke about it when he initially arrived. It was like, okay, we're going to drip feed him into the side, and that happened once or twice on a couple of benches. I think he plays against West Ham in the Carabao Cup, and then they drew a line with him, because I remember Slot coming out and saying, He trains one day, then he has a setback. He trains the next day, a setback. And you think, well, that doesn't...
Let's just start and build him up.
Yeah, but that didn't sound particularly brilliant, in my opinion. So there's a bit of a hard line drew in the sand there. And he said, okay, we're going to give him a pre-season. We're going to go cut fresh, and we'll go from there. But ever since that's happened, I know he played last week for the 21s against Nordjylland, Danish side, which is a bit of a surprise. He actually scored in that game. I think he got an hour, I think I'm right in saying. So you think, okay, that's really positive. And then just as you think, okay, great, let's double down on that. Let's train this week. Let's travel to Girona, maybe get 10-15 minutes off the bench. He's ill. I know you can't do anything about an illness, but with players like that, and again, we've experienced it ourselves all too frequently, you just think, it's just one thing after another a little bit, and I just hope he doesn't fall into that category, because again, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
And we'd all love to see him, by the way.
That's the main thing. And that was the case with Thiago, Keita,
Yeah.
Artemelo to a much less extent. But there was always that frustration with players like this because they're so good. You just want to see them play for your team. Yeah, hopefully not.
What side are you sort of looking at for Girona? Are you taking, Steve, the way to look at it is like get your 3 points here and you've almost got 2 games in January that you can that are likely to be dead rubbers? Or are you just, well, we've had a week off now, essentially already, because of the Everton game. Is it everyone plays, you get the win, or you got one eye on Fulham? How are you sort of balancing the squad for this one yourself?
I've always been an advocate of do your business, get it done early, and then reap the rewards afterwards. You know, team selections, when people have said I want loads of people rested, we've sat in here and I've said, not for me, get it, and then make the changes when you've won the game. Pretty much.
Would you have started Jota away when Klopp did?
That injury that he picked up could have happened at any point, and it was, you can't legislate for that. There were no warning signs. It was a bit of a strange one, wasn't it?
The warning sign was Diogo Jota.
I'm going to say, it's Jota in a nutshell.
In which case, he just sits on the bench and watches forever because you can't take the chance, can you? I'd probably look at Diaz starting against Girona, back on the left. Nunes.
Gakpo's played the last 2, hasn't he? Is that right?
Nunes up front, because at some point we need to see something click there. We live in hope that it does, but we need to see something click there. It's a good opportunity to get some minutes into Harvey Elliott. Might be 60-30 with him. Just get some get it won, get some players off, get them ready for the weekend, and then exactly what you just said. You've got 2 games in January where it's done. You know, you're going to go through, you might as well go through in first. That's great. If you go through in second because you rested players, or third, so be it. Your name's in the draw for the knockout stages. That's the ultimate game, not necessarily finishing top of that league. But I would certainly go there with a view to making it 6 wins on the bounce. It's pretty much done then. I can't see it collapsing from that stage. You go there with a weakened side and, you know, well, stop. It won't, Chloe. It won't. It won't.
It's like pulling a hair out off camera then. It's like, no, I just keep saying stuff.
No, you've got to be positive. You've got to be positive about these things. You've got to have confidence in what's going on, haven't you? And I do. And I think it's a great opportunity there. Losing becomes a habit, which they're in. Get it done. Get it won in an hour and make the changes. And then everyone comes home and we look at the weekend, safe in the knowledge that our rite of passage into the knockout stages is pretty much done.
Yeah, it will be secure pretty much, I think. Chloe with 18 points. I think everybody was saying sort of 14, 15 points is going to be enough. Right now, we might be able to lose all 3 games and still get in there regardless.
I thought we were the first to actually, we were
the first to get in the top 24.
Yeah,
so hopefully the playoff second, not the automatic though.
Not the automatic stuff. That's the top 8, isn't it? So, but listen, we've got Jota who's trained fully now as well, hasn't he? We've got Alisson who's back in training over the weekend. It's obviously probably too soon for both of those, but would you be tempted to get them on the bench and get them some minutes?
If there's any chance of Diogo Jota getting injured on that plane, then absolutely not.
God help us.
Naby Keita did his neck injury on a plane, thank you very much, at the start of the season. When he first... was back, yeah.
I was back, yeah.
For me, this game, look, I don't think we can make loads of changes because, you know, right backs out, left backs out in terms of Bradley and Costas. Ali, you'd think maybe is a bit too soon. Diogo Jota, a bit too soon. Especially like if this is a game where you're worried that he could re-aggravate something, just don't do it. It's not that important. You've obviously got your midfield where Mac is out, so you know that's one less option for us. Harvey Elliott being back is great, but he won't be able to play the full 90. It depends whether he can only play 30 or whether he can play 60. So I think the squad will be strong, mainly because of the fact of how many injuries have been mentioned, and it's great that everyone's coming, well, a lot of people are coming back, but you still want to drip feed them into it. But like you mentioned there, we've had a week off. We've been able to reset, and hopefully, everyone is rested and ready to go again, because the big games don't stop. Everything now is absolutely massive. I'd say that this is one of the least important games, but is still massively important. So you can make some changes if you really wanted to. Like you mentioned there, Gakpo and Diaz, I'm not asked which one of them start because I think they're both boss. Salah will demand that he starts, and if you could take him off around 60, I'd be very thankful for it. So, it's one of them where, like you said, get the job done. I don't think you can make that many changes because of the squad right now. But we should... we should do well. We should have a good squad. I can't do it.
Dan, look at it from the other side of things rather than like who's maybe going to get into the side. Is there anyone that you'd be looking to protect? Obviously, Chloe makes the point about Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold not having backups. Could you protect them with the use of a Joe Gomez or something like that? Or is there a player on the outskirts like a Darwin Núñez who for you is just starting this game?
Yeah, I think someone like Darwin you would look to start just to sort of instill some of that confidence maybe in him if he can grab himself a goal. And listen, for what it's worth, I don't think he's playing particularly poorly. I know he was far from it against Newcastle, and Chloe's given me evils from this side. But I don't think his all-round play has been particularly poor, really, generally speaking. I think he's been okay of late. And
I think his all-round play's improved.
Exactly. We are demanding a lot of him because, again, we haven't got the strength and depth in terms of the options to allow him to rest, really, certainly when it comes to the number 9 position. So, yeah, but I would start him again because, again, I think if he scores a goal or he provides an assist or whatever for Salah, which is often the case, and that's great in terms of momentum and rhythm, really, more importantly, build into the weekend. My view on what we should do and how strong we should go for this game is altered ever so slightly on the back of the Derby not being a thing. Because I think if we'd have had to go full strength and been put through the ringer a little bit maybe in the Derby, then you will be looking at Girona as an opportunity to make more changes. But having not kicked the ball in anger for 6 days by the time this game comes around, I then think you need to sort of get players back into a rhythm of playing football again. Gravenberch falls into that category for one. I think I'd have been very tempted to not involve him at all. Had a weekend off, he plays. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. You might have seen Wataru Endo instead. That's not the case anymore because of that. So whilst Trent and Robertson are going to be asked a lot of in the coming weeks, again, because of the amount of time they've had off, because of the rest they've had, I think you can give them hours in this game, really. And then I noticed James Norris was in training today. There's a left-back option there if you really need it. If you want to get Robertson off for 20 minutes, Joe Gomez falls into that category as well. You could maybe do something there with him. We've seen Quanta play right back recently as well. So whilst we are scraping the barrel ever so slightly when it comes to our depth, we are still blessed with options and things we can do there. I'd
love to see Dom start another game because I think he's been phenomenal when he's came on in the last 2 games. And we've always said that he's got so much quality there, but we're not really seeing it. We're seeing it in his work ethic, of course we are, but we've not seen the quality on the ball. Curtis Jones has came back into the squad and been absolutely phenomenal. And I think in the last 2 weeks, Dom Solanke, Jesus Christ.
He's been pretty good as well.
He scored the other day.
Did the Mo celebration?
He did do that. That's been his for a while, though, I think. I think people have been a bit too much into that. I feel like he's done that for quite some time.
Yeah, no. Sobbo, however, I think has raised his level in the last couple of weeks, and I would like to see him get a good run of form.
Out of interest, where would you play him? Because obviously with McAllister being suspended for this one,
I'd move Kurt back alongside Ryan Gravenberch or Wataru Endo if you really, really want to, and I'd put Dom as the attacker.
We are light on midfield, aren't we? Numbers. Like, that's where we are.
You do kind of forget almost about Endo, though, unfortunately, because he's just not used. I mean, Newcastle was the game for me where he should have been coming on.
Should have came on for
He's a forgotten man a little bit, isn't he? And that's just because he doesn't play. But even with Tyler Morton being out, I know he wouldn't have started this game, but there's another one you could have maybe done something with for half an hour. Harvey Elliott. But Arne Slot's made reference to this once or twice. I feel like around Elliott, the fact he can play as a right winger. So it feels like whilst Chiesa's not ready, I don't like it either massively. But whilst Chiesa's not ready, he looks like he's going to be the one to get Salah off the pitch potentially.
And that makes sense to me because I'm looking to try and protect Salah wherever I can possibly protect him. I'm like you. If you can take him off at 60 because he's got his goal and his assist in that game, then do it. Like, you know what I mean? No hard feelings, Mo. But Dan's right, Steve. We are light in midfield. There isn't many changes that we could ring there. Obviously, Endo could come in for somebody. You've already got the four of them: Gravenberch, Jones, Szoboszlai and Elliott. They're the four that you're probably picking from, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with Chloe that Dom should play some part in that game. Most of that game, for me, does look slightly better than recent weeks. I'm not really on board with the criticism of Gravenberch's performance against Newcastle. I thought the way we lined up gave them all the impetus to play on the front foot, and that midfield isn't a back foot midfield, it's a front foot midfield, so they all struggled. We just gave Newcastle all the confidence in the world with the way we set up. Getting back to what he's doing, control the game, because we don't play with energy and enthusiasm and passion, we play with control. I don't think these guys feel anything like the physical fatigue they did in the Klopp side, for instance, because it's much more structured. And I could go back and say there's a certain right back of yesteryear that played 427 games on rough pitches with the football that weighed like a brick and never missed a game. So sports science sometimes comes to your rescue and sometimes is a hindrance. If a lad can play 427 games with no sports science, drinking beers on the coach after the match, I take all that with a pinch of salt, because these guys have got nutritionists, diets, everything. So they should be able to run 7 or 8, 12 kilometres twice a week. Should be able to do that. They're professional sports people at the end of the day. So, I don't tend to lean too much into that. But for injury protection and stuff like that, Curtis has played a lot of minutes lately. I thought he was ridiculously good against Real Madrid, by the way.
I couldn't believe how good he was in 10 minutes against City. I thought he was on the pitch for half an hour. He did that much in 10 minutes.
Really good seats to watch the Madrid game, mate. He gave the ball away once because he was fouled. So, that's how good he was. But we can get this game done. We can get this game done early doors. If we can get it over by half-time, make the changes at half-time, this is an opportunity for a side that's struggling to go and capitalise on the fact they're struggling. But let's make sure we put a side out there that's capable of doing the job. I think we've seen, when we've sat and discussed it, that he doesn't make wholesale changes for the sake of wholesale changes. And certainly under Klopp, a lot of these lads gained a little bit from the intensity of playing 2 or 3 times a week. They wanted to go again. Players would rather play than train. That's a fact. And because we're winning games at the moment and we're doing really well, those players don't want to hide. They want to be out there front and centre, showing everybody what they're capable of. And as a manager, you have to capitalise on that. So I think we go to Spain and we put in a strong side.
Just quickly on the style and the contrasting sort of ways we used to play and that we play now. It's right, ultimately, I'm aware of it. I do think we are starting to see signs of just that, I don't know, the ability to go up gears, that heavy metals. I thought we've seen it at St James's Park a little bit, but I think we've seen it a bit more in recent weeks and in recent games, actually. But what I will say is that whilst it's right and it should allow us to use these players more and maybe not pick up as many, muscle strain injuries, that sort of stuff as well, our players are still our players, and some of our players do just pick up injuries. And also, they do. It's a fact. And also, I was starting to get ever so slightly concerned. I say starting to, have been playing it for weeks now, with Ryan Gravenberch, only because, not his performances necessarily, but just the sheer number of minutes he's played. Because he's still a young lad. He's still nowhere near his sort of physical prime, really. I know he's young and he's fit and he's an absolute machine. He's an athlete, all the rest of it. But he's already surpassed the minutes he's played in the past 3 seasons. I think maybe even combined by this point. It's frightening, sort of the uptick in the amount that's been demanded of him. So Honestly, doesn't make wholesale changes for the sake of it, I agree. But I think we're already starting to see signs. If we talk about him learning on the job and the fact this team isn't his finished article, I don't believe it is. But we're already starting to see signs of him just being a bit cleverer with how he uses the squad and what he does with it, and not asking players to go to the well time and time again, because I think you'll see sort of a downward trend in terms of performances if you do that. So whilst I take the point, and we are a little bit sort of bereft of numbers right now, it wouldn't shock me if he made a few surprises when it comes to team selection, just because one or two feel as though they're sailing a little bit closer to the win. Now, the weekend off might have made this entire point gone, but I do think we are just seeing moments whereby certain players could do with a bit more rest than we're allowing
we
them.
could do it with running away in a game, being 3-0 up by half time, which gives you the option to make changes. Yeah. Our opposition are in the game too long, too deep into the game for us to go, right, okay, get him off, this game's won, we're not going to lose this. I wouldn't say that to Chloe because she'd have a meltdown, wouldn't she? But we can pull that player out and give him a blow, but can't do it because we're fighting almost 80 minutes every week.
Thankfully, though, everyone that we're fighting against is doing exactly the same. You know, you think about the Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester City this week.
And we're picking a point
long on from Man City, fucking 5-0 up in 3 minutes or whatever it used to be. You know, where they were able to rest those players. So yeah, thankfully that's changed. Does anyone want to take a stab at the side that he will pick?
I think the goalkeeper picks himself, doesn't it? Yeah. Fullbacks, probably.
Trent and Robbo still.
Agree. I think it'll be Joe and Virgil and centre-backs.
Okay. No disagreements here.
I think he'll start Gravenberch, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
I do. I think Dan's point was more pertinent if we played the derby.
100%.
I think you were absolutely spot on.
If he did 90 minutes in the derby, I think we'll have a different conversation about Gravenberch.
Yeah. And I think he starts with Jones and Szoboszlai.
Yeah.
Is that 3? And
that's right.
I'd hope to see Diaz start because he's playing second fiddle a little bit to Gakpo at the moment, and rightly so. Gakpo's ridiculously good at the moment, to be fair.
Diaz, Nunes, Salah.
You're right. Salah will demand to play. Right?
Yeah, he will.
There's no
choice about that.
And then get it done. Get it done by half time. Make changes. Make 4 substitutions and keep one in the bank in case someone picks up a knock, and get these lads some. Sorry, can't say anything, can you?
No, I just hated the idea of it.
Yeah, it's. I think that's the side. To be honest with you, I don't think there's going to be a major surprise.
No, I don't. Yeah, we haven't got capability to make it a major one. The only one is Endo.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Harvey Elliott's got 60 minutes in him personally. You don't go from playing like 5 minutes into a game recently to 60.
If you turn it up at half time, for me, you don't. Gravenberch doesn't come out.
No, I agree. I'd love that so much.
Yeah,
providing they told us immediately why it didn't come out. Yeah. I don't be left in limbo. So
can't live that life, can we?
I would kind of like Chloe to be near me when that happens and don't want to, and she's just fuming about something. No, why always me? Yeah. That would be fun.
I'll start walking out with a sign. He's okay.
Chloe, he's okay.